Well, here I am back out walking again. I thought for sure I'd be up in the mountains riding today. BRP, you and I need to have a conversation, boys. Last fall, I bought two brand new 2024 Turbo Summits. Fully customized, probably around $24,000 each. And then they came with the 102.5-inch widescreen display on them. This summer, BRP released a GPS module for their sleds. I took them down to the dealer, had them install the modules, had them reflash the systems, and brought them home a couple of days ago. You may have seen the video. Last night I finally had time. I unloaded them off the sled trailer, tried to get them ready to take out this morning and go ride. But as you'll notice, behind me, dirt field, not snow in Island Park or West Yellowstone. Instead of riding, I spent the entire night working on updating the software. And instead of riding this morning, I've spent the entire morning working on updating the software. After having had the shop flash those things, there were still 6 more upgrades that each one of the sleds had to have. And it has not gone well. BRP, I'm not impressed, guys. Beautiful technology, lousy frickin' update. This has been a major, major pain in the butt. That thing will download 25% and then it stalls. Download 50%, stalls. I got to 90% multiple times last night and then it stalls and it just sits there for hours and hours and hours. And I'd be darned if I can figure a way to back out and remove all the things that I had tagged. But getting the maps installed has been a real challenge. So your friendly host here is out walking the Huskies instead of riding the sleds. I've got to get this thing done. I want all those updates current. And when I'm done with the puppies, I'll be heading back to the garage one more time, and I will somehow work my way through this. I've had battery issues. I've had to get chargers and keep the sleds powered because when you do the updates, of course, the sled has to be turned on the entire time. And I'm not going to let the sled sit there and run with the engine going for a couple hours in my garage. But the headlights turn on and that drains more power. And it's just been a challenge. But that's just me complaining, bloviating, going on about my problems, not yours. My dogs, meanwhile, I think have found a ground squirrel or something. But the topic of today's the topic of today's presentation is just one person. And that's really what I wanted to focus on. Just one person. All right, where was I? Oh yes, the topic of today. So I'm Christopher, snowwest.com. It is Friday, November 22nd. And as you can tell, I'm not on the mountain. I'm out walking the Huskies in the fields once again. Today's topic is just one person. And this will be the first Snow West challenge for the year that I issue to everybody watching this video today. And it's an important topic. Point being, I want to tell you a little story before I get to that. A couple of days ago, I got a phone call from a friend, a Porsche enthusiast, let's say. It's a gentleman, it's a friend of both of my boys. My boys, both grown men, own Porsches, and this guy is a enthusiast of the 1970s, 1980s Porsches. He is the quintessential motorhead. If he were a snowmobiler, he'd be a guy who'd be perfectly happy wrenching on old greasy triples and smiling the entire time he was doing it. He calls me and says, "Hey, Chris, my neighbor wants to sell me a sled. Do you think this is a good sled?" It's like, "Oh, Matt, I didn't know you were sledding." He goes, "Well, he took me out for a ride yesterday and I really liked it. And I'm thinking about buying his sled." And that led to a conversation we had about whether or not he wanted to dive into an older sled, something that's 15, 20 years old, and what it's going to take to get into the sport, what kind of gear he's going to need, and where he's going to get his training and certification and yada, yada, yada. This led into many hours. I invited him over to the house and we sat and talked, and I introduced him to all the gear for riding, introduced him to the sled, introduced him to how sleds work and what it takes to get up in the mountains and be safe. And we really had a fabulous conversation. And that led me to sit and think, as I was upstairs doing some editing, that the number one solution to growing this sport, to growing the industry, to growing our clubs, really is just one person, okay? And that just one person is whoever it is you and I go out and find, who we bring under our wing, introduce to sledding, tutor through sledding, dig out when he gets stuck, teach, correct, encourage, mock a little bit, take funny pictures of, the whole story. And I've committed to taking my friend Matt and teaching him how to ride. I will help him get all of his gear. I will share my gear with him as we go through the process of getting new gear. He's asking all the obvious questions. Can I wear my snowboarding gear? Can I use my ski equipment? Do I really need to go out and buy all this stuff just for sledding? Yeah, there's a lot of differences, Matt. It's going to take some time and some money and a lot of commitment if you really want to get into mountain riding. And as far as I can tell, that's really what he's interested in doing. So I will share my gear with him. I'll share what skills and talents I have and whatever education I can with him. And over the course of this winter, I will ride with him as often as I can and teach him how to ride the sport. And I have, I think, 3 or 4 youth that I've committed to taking out and teaching how to ride as well. So I've got a fairly full docket for this winter. I have a lot of people that I want to introduce to the sport and teach them how to ride and become decent riders. For selfish reasons, I'll have more people to ride with because I always have a problem with getting people to ride with. And for, altruistic reasons, it'll be great for the whole industry, great for the sport, great for all you guys. No doubt I will have some fun videos on all the times I take these never-evers out on their very first rides. That's always enjoyable. Yes, it's a lot of shovel work, but it's also a lot of fun. As you see, one by one, the different points of riding click in their faces and they have that aha moment and suddenly understand. And I enjoy that a lot. I really do. I don't have any problem with riding with never-evers in the least bit. So I'm challenging you, fellow snow westers. Will you commit, will you find just one person this season that you can introduce to riding? Can be a man, can be a woman, can be a boy, can be a girl, can be a family member, a friend, stranger, whatever, it doesn't matter. Can you find one person? Can we begin to fundamentally change this sport by a deliberate action on our part? I've used that phrase, go out there and be a self-appointed snowmobile ambassador. That's great. Get on the internet, publish some content, be out there, carry the flag, wave the banner, as it were, for snowmobiling. Let everybody know that that's the best sport in the freaking world. But even more so, find one person. Not a whole flock, not a school, just one single person that you can directly influence, that you could take your years of experience, your years of enthusiasm, all of the knowledge you've gained from all the mistakes that you've made, and share it with somebody. And let them catch the bug. Let them, enjoy that same fire that we have all summer and fall long as we're looking forward to that first winter. That's I guess what's on my mind. That was just a mini epiphany I had the other night while I was sitting there in front of my screens. It's like, this is a good route, a good example of what we can do to help grow this sport. As I thought, what would be better for each one of us to teach one person to ride, or for each one of us to go down to our dealer and buy a brand new sled? And while all of us buying sleds is going to be great for the industry, next year none of us are going to buy sleds, or the year after that, or probably the third year. And if we all went out and bought sleds and that was all we did, I think the industry would probably implode. It'd be a death knell because they wouldn't survive the coming 3 years of no sales. But if we each go out and choose one friend, one acquaintance, one relative, a nephew, a niece, a cousin, an aunt, an uncle, brother, sister, whatever, the guy down the street who looks at you every time you drive by on your sled and looks at your trailer. If we take these guys out and introduce them to sledding, and we do it in a friendly manner, okay, we choose where we're going to go, we choose what they're going to ride, what would be the word? We curate the experience. That's the word. Yeah, that's the ticket. Curate the experience to make sure that their first experience on a sled is good, that it's positive, that it's fun. They're not miserable. They're not cold. They're not, fatigued and worn out. And they don't come home at the end of the day saying, man, I'm sorry, dude, that just sucked. That was not fun. Rather, we take the day and we curate it, and we take them to the right place at the right time under the right conditions and ensure that they have a good time, that they have fun, and they come back and say, yo, Chris, when can we go riding again? When's the next opportunity to go back out and do this? I think, guys, that would have a huge, profound impact on our community. Let me get back to this self-appointed ambassador bit for just a second. So I've challenged you to go out, find a friend, find someone, put them under your arm, under your wing, introduce them to sledding. Number 2, you really need to become an ambassador for snowmobiling. And I mean that literally. There's 15,460 people that are on the subscriber list, I guess, to this Facebook channel. And there's, I think I'm at 7.1 or 7.2 million people that are on the exposure list. When you go riding next time, here's your second challenge. I want you to be deliberate and intentional and stop and shoot a little bit of video or shoot a couple of still frames that are good, not just snapshots. I want you to actually stop and think about what you're going to do and get that 15 or 30-second video clip that's fun, that's exciting, that's compelling, that looks interesting. You know, we've all got cell phones, we all have cameras. There's no reason we all can't be creating some amount of content, and then throw it up on your page and share it to people. Put it out there. The more people see you having fun snowmobiling, the more likely they are to want to be that person that you're going to take sledding. You know, this is a self-fulfilling prophecy here, guys. It's as circular as it gets. You put out more good vibes, as it were, more good impressions, more people want to experience the same thing. So we grow the sport again. And if we grow the sport, that's better for all of us. So 2 challenges. Number 1, find somebody to train. Number 2, be deliberate, be intentional, stage if you have to. In other words, you stop, you get your camera out, you set the video up, you tell Joe, you tell Billy Bob, you tell Sally, okay, I want you to drive by me, I want you to lean over to the left, I want you to do a big old power turn, and shoot that 15 or 30 seconds worth of video, and then throw it up on your channel, and do so unabashedly, okay? You are a self-appointed snowmobile ambassador. Don't be ashamed of it. Get out there and push your sport and support, you know, what I think is the best sport in the world, personally. You know, summer is just a time for us to get ready to go snowmobiling. You know, some people look forward to summer. I think they need mental help, but you know, that's okay. I understand that. All right, guys. I'm Christopher from snowwest.com. Pile of Black Friday specials coming up. Stay tuned. You are going to see the only sales pitch probably for the entire calendar year coming at you. And I got some real deals for everybody coming. We'll see you online. Thanks again, guys.